You have 48 hours to decide, marriage or death.
Oh my God.
Either way, she doesn't have to know. Your mother leaves the house at 7:43 every morning. Don't make me change her routine.
You have 48 hours to decide, marriage or death. The words hung in Amara Williams' tiny soul kitchen like a death sentence. Not her death. She'd already resigned herself to that possibility when 3 men in expensive suits appeared at her door. No, they'd explained in patient, accented English. It was her Aunt Diane in Atlanta who would pay for her father's sins. The gambling debts. The broken promises. The money owed to people who didn't forgive. The scarred man slid a photograph across her scratched table. Sharp jawline. Empty eyes. Expensive suit. Park Ji-hwan. The dragon. Mr. Park is being generous, the man said. He could take everything. Instead, he offers you a choice. Amara's hands trembled. Why would he want to marry me? Your father made promises 20 years ago. An arranged marriage. Old traditions. This settles everything. 20 years ago, Amara had been 3, building mud castles in her grandmother's backyard. Her father had been selling her future to monsters. And if I refuse? The man pulled out his phone, swiped, turned the screen toward her. Aunt Diane. Leaving her house. Timestamp. Today, 7:43 a.m. Your aunt is 67. Lives alone. Takes the same route to church every Sunday. He pocketed the phone. Unfortunate if something happened. An accident. These things happen in America, yes? Amara touched her collarbone, where her grandmother's necklace used to rest before she'd sold it to pay for the funeral. Aunt Diane. Who'd sung at Grandma's funeral. Who sent birthday cards with $20 tucked inside. 48 hours, the man said, standing. Someone will collect your answer. They left. Amara sat counting heartbeats. 1, 2, 3, 10, 20. Her grandmother's voice. Count to 10 and the fear gets smaller. The fear didn't get smaller. She stared at the photograph. Park Ji-hwan stared back, beautiful and terrible and cold. A stranger who would own her life. If you're here, something in this story already resonates. Maybe you know this fear. Maybe you need to see how it ends. Either way, you're not alone here. Stay with me. 3 years ago, Amara had fled to Korea to escape ghosts. Her grandmother had died on a Tuesday. Amara had been working a double shift, covering for someone else. By the time she got home, Grandma was already gone, 15 minutes cold. Crossword puzzle still open. Coffee growing cold. 15 minutes. The guilt had suffocated her. So she'd run to Seoul, built a careful life teaching English to children, living small and quiet and invisible. Now her father's ghosts had followed her across an ocean. She called Atlanta. Her hands shook. Honey. Aunt Diane's voice was warm, familiar, home. Aunt Diane. Did Dad gamble? Did he have debts? Silence. Too long. Your father never gambled, honey. He barely bought lottery tickets. After your mother died, he was paranoid about money. Concern sharpened her voice. What's happened? Are you in trouble? The confirmation didn't match. Something was wrong. I'm fine, Amara lied. I have to go. I love you. She ended the call before her aunt could hear her cry. 48 hours to decide. But there was no decision. She couldn't let them hurt Aunt Diane. Couldn't live with more guilt, more being 15 minutes too late. She would marry a monster. She didn't know it then, but Park Ji-hwan was the first man who would kneel for her. The dragon, who bowed to no one, would kneel. And when he did, it would change everything. The call came 36 hours later. A car will collect you tomorrow morning. 6 a.m. A crisp female voice. The wedding is in 3 days. 3 days? I thought I had 48. Mr. Park has accelerated the timeline. Do you accept his proposal? Amara closed her eyes. Saw Aunt Diane smile. Heard her grandmother. You're stronger than you think, baby girl. Yes, she whispered. The black Mercedes arrived at exactly 6 a.m. The scarred man loaded her single suitcase. Get in. They drove through Seoul in silence. After 30 minutes, they pulled up to a building that touched the clouds. Glass and steel and impossible wealth. Penthouse. Top floor, the man said. He's waiting. Privately, Amara thought, ice flooding her veins. The elevator was silent. Fast. 43 floors in less than a minute. The doors opened into a penthouse that belonged in magazines. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Minimalist furniture. Art worth more than she'd earn in a lifetime. Park Ji-hwan stood at the windows, back to her. Taller than the photograph suggested. Power radiating from him. Close the door, he said in English. His voice was deep, controlled, empty. Amara's hand shook. The click echoed. She counted heartbeats. 1, 2, 3. Ji-hwan turned around. The photograph hadn't prepared her. He was devastating. Beautiful in a way that stole breath. Dark eyes that tracked her every movement. He studied her. Clinical. Assessing. She felt stripped. Evaluated. Found wanting. You're shorter than I expected, he said finally. I'm 5'8", she said before she could stop herself. That's not short. Something flickered in his eyes. Almost like surprise. The wedding is traditional. You'll need to learn the ceremony. I'll learn. You have 3 days. Then I'll learn fast. He stopped 3 feet away. Close enough to see gold flecks in his eyes. Close enough to smell bergamot and cedar and something darker. She lifted her chin. Refused to cower. You're afraid. Wouldn't you be? Yes. The honesty surprised her. But fear makes people stupid. Don't be stupid, Amara. Her name in his mouth sounded too intimate. What do you want from me? Ji-hwan moved to a bar cart, poured whiskey into crystal. I'm going to tell you something, and you're going to listen very carefully. Her heart hammered. I will not touch you. Quiet but absolute. Not tonight. Not tomorrow. Not until you ask me to. Amara's brain stuttered. What? This marriage is real. You're my wife in 3 days. You'll live here. Bear my name. Appear at my side when required. He paused. But your body is yours. I won't take what isn't freely given. Men like him didn't. I don't understand. You don't need to understand. You just need to know the rules. Something dark and painful flashed in his eyes. A room has been prepared. Guest wing. You'll sleep there. He picked up his phone, dismissing her. Wait. The word escaped. Why are you doing this? Ji-hwan paused. 3 heartbeats of silence. Then, because I've taken many things in my life, Amara. I won't take this. Not from you. Not from anyone. An older woman appeared. This way, Miss Williams. At the door to her room, Amara looked back. Ji-hwan stood at the windows, silhouetted against Seoul's light. Alone despite the penthouse. Isolated despite his power. The dragon in his tower. And she was his captive bride who he'd sworn never to touch. Nothing made sense. Park Ji-hwan was either the most honorable man she'd ever met, or the most dangerous liar. She had 3 days to figure out which. Somehow, she suspected the answer was both. The first week became a careful dance. Ji-hwan left before dawn, returned after midnight. He never entered her space unannounced, never demanded anything. Sometimes she'd hear him in the kitchen at 3 a.m., the clink of glass, footsteps of someone who couldn't sleep. On the 4th night, she found courage. When she heard him return, she made tea, chamomile, the way her grandmother taught her, and left it outside his door with a note. You look tired. The next morning, the empty cup sat outside her door with a single word. Thanks. It was a beginning. By the 2nd week, patterns emerged. He spoke to her in English, his accent barely noticeable. Oxford educated, she learned from the books on his shelves, though he never explained why he'd returned to this life. Mrs. Kong taught her the wedding ceremony. How to bow, how to pour tea, how to move in the layers of silk that would bind her body as surely as the vows would bind her life. You're doing well, the older woman said, adjusting Amara's posture. Better than expected. What did you expect? Mrs. Kang's face remained neutral. Most would have run by now. I can't run. No. The woman's eyes softened slightly. I suppose you can't. The wedding dress arrived on day 10. Burgundy and gold silk, embroidered with phoenixes. Amara stared at her reflection, her dark skin a canvas for the traditional beauty, her natural hair swept into an elaborate style. She barely recognized herself. Beautiful, the coordinator said, though her smile didn't reach her eyes. Mr. Park will be pleased. But would he? The man who'd promised never to touch her. The man who left teacups outside her door but couldn't look at her during breakfast. The man whose knuckles had been split and bloody when he came home 3 nights ago. She'd seen him try to slip past to his room, hand hidden. Ji-hwan. She'd stood from the couch. Your hand is bleeding. He froze, back to her. Go to bed, Amara. Let me see. He turned slowly, and the look on his face stopped her breath. Not anger, emptiness. Eyes of a man who'd crossed lines so many times he'd forgotten where they were. You don't want to see this. You don't want to know what I am. I already know what you are. She moved closer. You're hurt. Let me help. Something cracked in his expression. He held out his hand. Amara led him to the kitchen, cleaning the wounds with steady hands even as her heart raced. The cuts were deep, knuckle bones visible through torn skin. Why do you do this? She asked softly. It's who I am. That's not an answer. His jaw tightened. My father used to come home like this. Bloodied. He'd take it out on my mother every time. His voice was hollow. I swore I'd never be like him. Never hurt someone weaker. So I built an empire where I'm always the strongest. Where no one can hurt the people I'm supposed to protect. Her hand stilled. Is that what I am? Someone you're protecting? His eyes met hers, really met them for the first time since the wedding announcement. I don't know what you are yet. The honesty struck deeper than any lie. She finished bandaging in silence. When she looked up, he was watching her with an expression she couldn't read. My mother used to do this, he said quietly. Tend my father's wounds. I watched her make excuses for him, believe his promises. His hand flexed under hers. She died believing he'd change. He never did. You're not him. How do you know? Because you're terrified of becoming him. He never was. Ji-hwan pulled his hand away, stood. Get some sleep. The wedding is in 2 days. He left before she could respond. But Amara had seen it. That flash of vulnerability before he remembered to hide. Meeting Park Jia changed everything. Ji-hwan's sister burst through the penthouse door on a Saturday morning with the energy of a summer storm. 23, beautiful, utterly unbothered by her brother's reputation. So you're the wife. Jia circled Amara like an art critic. You're prettier than the rumors said. And taller. Do you play basketball? Everyone asks tall women that, Amara said carefully. It's so annoying, right? Jia grinned. I'm taking you shopping. No, you're not, Ji-hwan said from the doorway. Yes, I am. She needs friends, Appa. You can't keep her locked up like Rapunzel. Watching them bicker, Amara saw something unexpected, Ji-hwan being human. Exasperated, protective, undeniably caring. When Jia looped her arm through Amara's, Ji-hwan's resignation was almost comical. 2 bodyguards. Back by 6. Jia stuck out her tongue. In the boutiques of Gangnam, surrounded by wealth Amara couldn't fathom, Jia revealed pieces of Ji-hwan's past. He raised me after our mother died. Kept me away from the family business. Paid for my art degree. She held up a dress. He's scary, but he's good. He just forgot how to show it. Until you. I don't think he shows me anything. Are you kidding? He makes you tea. Appa doesn't do things like that. Jia's eyes were knowing. He watches you when you're not looking. You're changing him already. Amara's heart stuttered. He does. I just hope you're brave enough to keep going. That night, Amara started learning Korean in earnest. Not survival phrases, real language. She wanted to understand the phone calls, the world that shaped him. When Ji-hwan discovered her study materials, his surprise was unguarded. You're learning. I live here now. I should understand. Something softened in his face. Say something. She took a breath. Dongshinin Singak Buddha Chinjuro. You're kinder than you think. The words hung heavy between them. Ji-hwan stepped closer, close enough to see gold flecks in his eyes, smell his cologne mixed with something uniquely him. Be careful, Amara. Learning my language means learning my world. It's not kind. It's not safe. Neither is loving someone, she whispered, then froze, shocked by her own words. His breath caught. Neither moved. The moment stretched, taut with possibility. Then his phone rang, harsh, insistent. Reality crashed back. Ji-hwan stepped away, his mask sliding into place as he answered in rapid Korean. But Amara had seen it. That flash of raw feeling before he remembered to hide. One day, she'd speak his language completely. Not just Korean words, but the language of his world. And when she did, she'd become more dangerous than anyone expected. The wedding arrived like an execution date. The traditional hanbok felt like a beautiful cage. Amara barely recognized herself. Pearls and jade pins, elegance she'd never imagined wearing. The ceremony blurred. Hundreds of faces. Whispers in Korean she couldn't understand. The weight of judgment. A black woman, an American, an outsider marrying into power. Ji-hwan stood at the altar in traditional black hanbok, gold threading catching light. When she reached him, he didn't smile. His face was a perfect mask as he took her hand, surprisingly gentle, almost careful. She searched his eyes for cruelty, for the monster. Instead, nothing. Emptiness. The vows were in Korean. She repeated words she didn't understand, binding herself to a stranger. When the officiant pronounced them married, Ji-hwan lifted her veil with clinical precision. The kiss was brief. His lips barely brushed hers. The crowd applauded. It sounded like a funeral. The penthouse felt different as his wife. Amara stood in the master bedroom, still in the hanbok, heart hammering. This was it. The moment she'd been dreading. The door opened. Ji-hwan entered, loosening his tie. He poured whiskey, the silence stretching. "You're afraid," he said finally. Her throat tightened. "Wouldn't you be? I've been told I'm many things. Ruthless. Dangerous. A monster." He set the glass down. "They're not wrong. Then why marry me? I told you. Old debts. Old promises." He moved closer, 3 feet away. Close enough to touch. Far enough to escape. "But I also told you. I won't touch you. Not until you ask." His voice dropped. "That vow stands. Wife or not." Relief and confusion warred in her chest. "I don't understand you." "Good. That makes 2 of us." He headed toward the door, paused. "The guest room is still yours. Nothing changes." Ji-hwan. He stopped. "Why?" The question broke from her. "Why make that promise?" For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, "Because I've taken many things, Amara. I won't take this." The door closed. She stood alone in silk and confusion, married to a monster who acted like a man. Nothing made sense. But something was shifting. In him. In her. In the space between them. And she was terrified of what would happen when that shift became an earthquake. The whispers started at the business dinner Ji-hwan required her to attend. 2 weeks married. Amara wore a black dress Jia had chosen, elegant, expensive, armor disguised as silk. She stood beside her husband in a private room filled with men in tailored suits, their eyes sliding over her with thinly veiled contempt. She understood more Korean now than they realized. "The American pet," one man murmured to another. "How long before he tires of her?" Ji-hwan's hand found her lower back. Warm, possessive, acclaiming for everyone to see. Then Kim Sang-woo entered. She felt Ji-hwan go rigid before she saw why. The man was younger than the others, handsome in a cruel way, eyes that tracked her like prey. "So this is the famous bride," Sang-woo said in English, his smile sharp as broken glass. "Tell me, Park, does she warm your bed, or is she just decoration?" The room went silent. Violence coiled in Ji-hwan. She felt it, a snake preparing to strike. Kim Sang-woo. Ji-hwan's voice was silk over steel. "Choose your next words carefully. I'm just curious. 3 weeks married, still no heir. People talk. They wonder if the dragon's losing his fire." Ji-hwan moved so fast Amara barely saw it. One moment beside her. The next, Sang-woo was against the wall, Ji-hwan's hand around his throat. "You want to see fire?" Ji-hwan. Amara's voice cut through the violence. She touched his arm, the first time she'd initiated contact. "He's not worth it." 3 heartbeats. No one breathed. Ji-hwan released Sang-woo, who crumpled gasping. Ji-hwan straightened his cuffs. "This meeting is over. Everyone out." They scattered. In the car home, silence pressed against them like a physical thing. At the penthouse, Ji-hwan poured whiskey with shaking hands. The first time she'd seen him rattled. "They're questioning me because of the vow," he said finally. Seeing weakness. "Because you haven't forced yourself on me." Anger flared. "That's weakness to them. In my world, yes. You're not like them. I'm exactly like them." Self-loathing darkened his eyes. "I've done worse than you can imagine." "I don't believe that." He looked at her, really looked. Something desperate and raw. "You should." He crossed to her. "Because the things I've done to keep you safe would make you run. And I'd do them all again." Ji-hwan. A window exploded. He tackled her to the floor as gunfire erupted. Glass rained deadly. He covered her body with his. She felt his heart hammering, his breath hot against her neck. "Stay down," he commanded, pulling a gun. He fired back, 3 precise shots that silenced the attack. Sirens. Shouting. His security flooded in. Ji-hwan pushed her toward Taeyong. "Get her to the safe house. Now." "You're hurt," She saw blood spreading across his shoulder. I don't care. Get her out. He looked at her, eyes desperate. Trust me. Please. Taeyong pulled her away. The last thing she saw, Ji-hwan collapsing against the wall, bleeding. The safe house was a concrete room. One cot. Emergency supplies. Steel door sealing them in. Just the two of them. Amara's hands trembled as she tore his shirt. The bullet had carved through his shoulder, not deep, but bleeding heavily. This will hurt, she warned. It already hurts. But he sat still as she cleaned it. You should be screaming. This is what your life is. Violence. Death. And yet you threw yourself in front of me. Her hands steadied, threading the needle. Why? He was quiet while she worked. Finally, as she tied off the last stitch, because somewhere between the wedding and now, you stopped being an arrangement. Her hand stilled. What am I then? I don't know. Raw stripped. All I know is when that window broke, all I could think was that I couldn't let them hurt you. You could have died. Better me than you. Don't say that. Tears burned. Don't you dare. Why? He covered her hand with his. Why does it matter? Because the word stuck. Too big. Because you matter. His thumb traced circles on her hand. When this is over, I'm going to find who did this. I'm going to destroy them and everyone they love. His eyes locked with hers. And you'll see exactly what kind of monster I am. I've already seen it. She didn't pull away. The monster who makes tea. Who keeps promises even when they cost everything. Amara. Something broke in his expression. He raised his free hand to her face, hesitating. May I? That question, that respect even now, undid her completely. She leaned into his palm. I'm afraid. I'm afraid too. His voice cracked. But I'm more afraid of never knowing what we could be. Then know this. She looked up at him. I want you. His eyes widened. You don't have to. I'm not saying it because of the vow. I'm saying it because it's true. She cupped his face. I want you, Ji-hwan. Not the dragon. Just you. You're sure? Instead of answering, she kissed him. Soft, tentative, then deeper as months of longing ignited. He responded with desperation that stole her breath, pulling her close like she was oxygen. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Ji-hwan pressed his forehead to hers. I love you. The confession broke from him. I've loved you since before I had the right to. I love you too. He laughed, actually laughed. Even though I'm infuriating and dangerous? Especially because of that. Stay with me, she whispered. Always. Always, he promised. And there, in concrete and darkness, Ji-hwan discovered surrender could be power. That in her arms, he wasn't the dragon. Just a man learning love was braver than violence. He'd promised his dying mother he'd never become his father. He'd kept that promise in only one way. The vow never to take what wasn't freely given. One day, that single thread of honor would be the thing that saved him. He didn't know it yet, but he would. The safe room door opened 6 hours later. Taeyong stood in the doorway, face grim. All clear, but we need to move you both. Now. Ji-hwan's shoulder was roughly bandaged, his shirt ruined with blood. He stood with effort, pulling Amara with him. Where? Ji-hwan asked. Family compound. Your father's orders. He wants you both under his roof until we identify the shooter. Amara felt Ji-hwan go rigid. No, it wasn't a request, boss. The compound, where Ji-hwan's mother had died, where his father ruled with absolute power, where Amara would be utterly vulnerable. Ji-hwan's hand tightened on hers. Give us a minute. When Taeyong left, Ji-hwan turned to her. You don't have to go. I can send you somewhere safe. Out of the country. And leave you alone with your father? She touched his face. We're in this together. Remember? Something broke in his expression. You don't know what you're agreeing to. Then tell me. My father will test you. Break you if he can. He'll use every weapon. Tradition, culture, family pressure. His voice was hollow. And I won't be able to protect you. Not there. Not in his house. I don't need protecting. I need you to trust that I can handle myself. He kissed her forehead. I do trust you. That's what terrifies me. The Park family estate sprawled across Songbuk-dong like a fortress. Traditional Hanok architecture mixed with modern security. Cameras, guards, walls that looked decorative but weren't. Amara felt the cold the moment they entered. Marble floors. Incense from the family shrine. Silence despite dozens of people moving through corridors. Park Jae-sung waited in the main hall. Ji-hwan's father was 70 but looked 50. Silver hair, hard eyes, posture that radiated absolute authority. He studied Amara like an insect under glass. So, the American bride. He spoke in Korean, not bothering with English. Amara understood more than he expected. She bowed, proper depth, proper form. Mrs. Kang's training. Grandfather, she said in careful Korean. Thank you for your hospitality. Surprise flickered in his eyes. You speak Korean. I'm learning. For Ji-hwan. How dutiful. His smile didn't reach his eyes. He switched to English. My son tells me you were nearly killed tonight. Unfortunate. Someone shot through our window, Ji-hwan said, voice tight. And you want to call it unfortunate? I want to call it predictable. You make enemies, boy. Flaunt your unsuitable wife. People notice. People act. The words landed like slaps. Unsuitable. Boy. We'll find who did this, Ji-hwan said. Will you? Jae-sung's gaze moved between them. Or are you too distracted by your new toy? Ji-hwan moved forward. Amara caught his hand. Squeezed. Thank you for the safe shelter, Chairman Park, she said clearly. We appreciate your protection. Jae-sung's eyes narrowed. Polite. Jia chose well when she taught you manners. He turned away. Your rooms are prepared. Separate wings. We maintain propriety in this house. We're married, Ji-hwan said. Your children playing house. Jae-sung didn't look back. Separate wings. My house, my rules. After he left, Ji-hwan's hands were shaking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you have to endure this. I've endured worse. She hadn't, but he needed to hear it. Park Jae-sung waited until the hall emptied. Then his shoulders sagged. He opened his desk drawer. The photograph inside was worn from decades of handling. Yuki's smile, frozen at 23. Beautiful. Japanese. Forbidden. He'd been 25 when his father forbade the match. She's beneath you. You'll marry the Kim girl, or you'll have nothing. He'd chosen everything. Spent 50 years with nothing that mattered. Now his son was choosing differently. Choosing the unsuitable woman. Choosing love over empire. Jae-sung's hand trembled as he put the photograph away. Fool, he whispered. But he didn't know if he meant Ji-hwan or himself. He locked the drawer. Became the patriarch again. Tomorrow, he'd test the American girl. See what she was made of. If she broke easily, the problem solved itself. If she didn't, well, he'd broken stronger things before. The family dinner was an execution by politeness. 12 people around a traditional low table. Ji-hwan's father at the head. His grandmother, the true matriarch, watching everything with sharp eyes. Amara knelt on a cushion, knees already aching. The hanbok Jia had helped her into was beautiful and restricting. Dishes appeared. She didn't recognize half of them. You don't eat kimchi? One aunt asked in Korean, watching Amara hesitate. I do. I'm just too spicy for foreign taste. Another relative interrupted, laughing. Ji-hwan's jaw tightened. Amara eats everything. Does she? Jae-sung's voice was mild. Dangerous. Tell me, daughter-in-law, what do you know of our family traditions? Amara set down her chopsticks. I know respect. I know loyalty. I know that family is everything in Korean culture. Book knowledge. What do you know of sacrifice? Of duty? I know I left everything I had to come here. I know I married a man I just met to save someone I love. She met his eyes. I know sacrifice. You know running away. Jae-sung's smile was cold. Ji-hwan told me. You fled to Korea after your grandmother died. Ran from grief like a coward. The words struck like fists. Father, Ji-hwan warned. No. Amara's voice was steady despite the pain. He's right. I did run. But I'm not running now. I'm here. I'm fighting. That's the difference. Jae-sung studied her. Fighting for what? Money? Status? A rich husband? For him. Simple. True. Just him. Something shifted in the old man's face. Too quick to read. The grandmother spoke for the first time, her voice thin but sharp. The girl has courage. Whether she has since remains to be seen. After dinner, Ji-hwan found Amara in the garden. She was shaking, adrenaline crash hitting hard. You were incredible, he said, pulling her close. I was terrified. I know. That's what made it incredible. He kissed her hair. My father is testing you. Everything he said was designed to break me. I know. She looked up at him. Ji-hwan, there's something wrong with the story. My aunt said my father didn't gamble. And your father keeps mentioning him. There's something we're not being told. Ji-hwan went very still. Amara. His phone buzzed. He looked at it. Went pale. What? Taeyong found something. About the shooting. He showed her the text. Shooter was hired 3 days before the wedding. Inside job. Tracing payment now. 3 days before. Amara's mind raced. That means someone knew about our marriage before it happened. Someone wanted to stop it. Or test it. Amara whispered, her blood running cold. Ji-hwan pulled her tighter. We're leaving. First thing tomorrow. This place isn't safe. But they both knew nowhere was safe. Not when the enemy might be family. That night, Amara couldn't sleep. Separate wings meant separate rooms. She lay in the dark, counting heartbeats, trying to make sense of everything. Her father. The debt that might not be real. The assassination attempt ordered before the wedding. Ji-hwan's father's strange tests. Something was deeply wrong. A soft knock. Her door opened. Ji-hwan slipped inside, moving like a shadow. You shouldn't be here, she whispered. I know. He sat on the edge of her bed. I couldn't stay away. In the darkness, he looked younger. Vulnerable. Tell me about your mother, Amara said softly. Ji-hwan was quiet for a long time. Then, she was kind. Too kind for this family. She loved my father even though his voice broke. I watched him kill her slowly. Not all at once. Just piece by piece. Every insult. Every hand raised. Every time he chose the business over her. How old were you? 12 when she finally died. Officially, she fell downstairs. Unofficially, he didn't finish. Amara took his hand. You're not him. How do you know? Because you're here. Asking, not demanding. Sitting with me instead of expecting me to come to you. She squeezed his hand. Because you made a vow and kept it even when it cost you everything. He pulled her close, buried his face in her neck. I love you so much it scares me. Good. I'd be worried if you weren't scared. They lay together in the dark, fully clothed, just holding each other. When this is over, Ji-hwan whispered, I'm taking you away from here. Somewhere my father can't reach. Somewhere we can just be. I'd like that. But morning came too soon. And with it, the beginning of the end. Breakfast was served in the main hall. The entire family gathered. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all watching. Jae-sung stood at the head of the table. I have news. About the shooting. Everyone went silent. The shooter has been identified. Kim Sang-woo hired him. He's been taken care of. Ji-hwan's face was stone. Taken care of? Dead. His body was found this morning in the Han River. Jae-sung's eyes were cold. Justice is served. Something was wrong. Amara felt it in her bones. Too easy. Too convenient. Who confirmed it was Sang-woo? Ji-hwan asked. Does it matter? The threat is eliminated. It matters to me. Jae-sung's smile was thin. Always questioning. Just like your mother. The comparison landed like a blow. Speaking of which, the old man continued. We need to discuss the future. 3 weeks married. No heir. The family is concerned. Amara's stomach dropped. That's none of your business, Ji-hwan said. It's entirely my business. This marriage was to settle debts and produce heirs. You're failing at half your obligations. We'll produce heirs when we're ready. You'll produce heirs now, or we'll reconsider the arrangement. Jae-sung's eyes moved to Amara. After all, if the marriage isn't consummated, it can be annulled. And the original debt can be renegotiated. Threat. Clear as glass. Ji-hwan stood, violence in every line of his body. Amara caught his hand. Stood with him. We'll leave, she said clearly. Today. We don't need your approval or your house. You need my protection. Or did you forget someone just tried to kill you? We'll take our chances. Jae-sung laughed. Brave. Stupid, but brave. He leaned forward. But you're forgetting something, American girl. Your aunt in Atlanta. She's still vulnerable. Still very much in danger. The Park family's reach is long. Amara's blood turned to ice. Ji-hwan moved. Fast. His hand wrapped around his father's throat. You threaten her family again, and I'll. You'll what? Jae-sung didn't even flinch. Kill me? Your own father? In front of witnesses? The room held its breath. Amara touched Ji-hwan's back. Don't. He wants you to. Slowly, Ji-hwan released him. We're leaving, he said quietly. And if anything happens to Amara or her aunt, you'll discover exactly what kind of monster I can be. They walked out together. Behind them, Jae-sung smiled. Everything was going according to plan. They moved back to the penthouse that afternoon. Taeyong swept every room for bugs, cameras, threats. Ji-hwan's security was tripled. The windows, now repaired, had bulletproof glass installed. But glass couldn't stop the truth. Amara was unpacking when she noticed it. Ji-hwan's study door, slightly open. It was never open. She hesitated. Crossed the threshold. Files covered his desk. Her eyes caught one folder, different from the others. Williams, Thomas, classified. Her father's name. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside, surveillance photos. Her father meeting with men in suits. FBI logos. Documents marked informant. Dates from 20 years ago. Witness protection negotiation. Terms. Daughter's safety in exchange for silence. Her father wasn't a gambler. He was a whistleblower. The debt was a lie. Looking for something? She spun. Ji-hwan stood in the doorway, face unreadable. What is this? Her voice shook, holding up the file. Amara. My father. The debt. Was it all a lie? Ji-hwan closed the door. Locked it. When he turned, his eyes were hollow. Yes. The word detonated everything. Yes. She couldn't breathe. Yes? That's all you have to say. Your father tried to expose my family 20 years ago. He made a deal, his silence for your safety. When he died last year, that protection ended. My father ordered you eliminated. The room tilted. So everything, the gambling debt, the arrangement, the marriage, was fabricated. By me. Ji-hwan's voice was flat. Factual. I bought a fake debt, created the arrangement, forced your choice. It was the only way to legally bind you to the Park family. The only way to protect you from my father's kill order. She couldn't process it. Couldn't think. You've been lying to me since the moment we met. Yes. The vow. The promise not to touch me. Was that a lie too? No. Raw pain cracked through his mask. That was the one true thing. I swore I wouldn't force you. I kept that promise. Why? Tears burned her eyes. Why keep that one promise when everything else was a lie? Because taking your body would make me exactly what my father is. And I swore on my mother's grave I'd never become him. Amara stared at the man she'd married. The man she'd fallen in love with. The man who'd manipulated her entire life. So when you said you loved me, I meant it. I've meant it from the beginning. That's why I couldn't tell you the truth. You'd never believe me. You're right. I don't believe you. She threw the file at him. Papers scattered. I don't believe anything you've ever said. Amara, please. Don't. She backed away. Don't say my name like that. Like you have any right to. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Ji-hwan's face drained of color. Don't answer that. She answered it. A voice, cold and unfamiliar. Mrs. Park. Your Aunt Diane in Atlanta. She's been in an accident. Critical condition. Funny timing, isn't it? The line went dead. Amara stared at Ji-hwan, betrayed and terrified. What did you do? Nothing. I swear I didn't. You swear. She laughed, broken. You swear? Your promises are worth nothing. She grabbed her phone, her bag, headed for the door. Where are you going? Away from you. Ji-hwan blocked her path. It's not safe. Whoever made that call. Get out of my way. No. Ji-hwan. I can't let you leave. Not until I know who's threatening you. You're threatening me. You've been threatening me from the start. She shoved him. He didn't move. Everything about this marriage is a threat. I was protecting you. By lying? By manipulating? By making me think I had a choice when I never did. You're alive. Your aunt was alive until 2 minutes ago. I kept you both safe. Safe. Tears streamed down her face. I'm trapped. I've been trapped from the moment you fabricated that debt. There's no safety in a cage. Ji-hwan's composure cracked. What was I supposed to do? Let my father kill you? Watch you die because your father tried to destroy my family 20 years ago. My father was a hero. He tried to expose criminals. He tried to destroy innocent people along with the guilty. My mother was still alive when he went to the FBI. If he'd succeeded, she'd have been arrested too. Died in prison instead of. He stopped, breathing hard. The truth sat between them like broken glass. So this was revenge, Amara whispered. For what my father tried to do to your family. No, this was protection. For what my father would do to you. Ji-hwan's voice broke. I didn't know you when I fabricated the debt. I'd never met you. I just knew you were in danger, and I had the power to save you. So I did. You bought me. I married you. Same thing. No. He grabbed her shoulders. Not the same thing. Buying you would have been easy. Marrying you, making that vow, falling in love with you while knowing you'd hate me when you learned the truth. His voice cracked. That's been hell. She saw it then, his fear, his desperation, and she hated that she still loved him despite everything. Let me go, she whispered. I can't. You have to. For a long moment, he held her gaze. Then he released her. Step back. If you leave, you'll be alone. Unprotected. Whoever made that call will find you. I'll take my chances. Amara. She opened the door. Taeyong was there, waiting. Get me out of here, she said. The loyal driver looked at Ji-hwan. Silent question. Take her to the safe house, Ji-hwan said quietly. Guard her with your life. Boss. Do it. Amara walked past Ji-hwan without looking back. In the elevator, she finally let herself break. Counted heartbeats through the tears. 1, 2, 3. The fear didn't get smaller. Because this time, she wasn't afraid of monsters. She was afraid she'd fallen in love with one. My mom told me nobody wants stories this heavy anymore. People want escape, not truth, she said. But you're still here. Still feeling this. If stories like this still matter to you, if truth wrapped in fiction still heals something, subscribe. Prove her wrong with me. In the penthouse, Ji-hwan stood alone surrounded by scattered papers. Evidence of his lies. Proof of his protection. Same thing, different words. He picked up one photograph. Amara, laughing with Jia. Taken 2 weeks ago. Before she knew. Before everything shattered. He'd saved her life and destroyed her trust. Some victories felt like losing. Taeyong drove in silence. Amara watched Soul blur past through bulletproof glass. After 20 minutes. He loves you, you know. She didn't answer. Couldn't. Boss has never loved anyone except Jia. Never let anyone close. Then you, he stopped. Then me. She finished bitterly. And he lied to me from day one. He saved you from day one. That's not the same thing. Taeyong pulled up to an unmarked building. No. But maybe it's close enough. She looked at him. Is it? If someone saves your life by lying to you, manipulating you, controlling everything, is that love or just a different kind of prison? He didn't answer. Because he didn't know either. The safe house was sterile. White walls. Single bed. No windows. A cell disguised as protection. Amara had been here 3 days. No contact with Ji-hwan. Jae-sung's orders, testing her loyalty, Taeyong had explained carefully. She'd called the hospital in Atlanta 17 times. Aunt Diane was stable. The accident had been a mugging gone wrong. Suspicious timing. Too convenient. Someone was sending a message. On day 4, everything changed. Amara woke nauseous. Rushed to the bathroom. When the sickness passed, she sat on the cold tile, counting heartbeats. 1, 2, 3. Then counting days. 6 weeks since the wedding. For weeks since that first night in the safe room after the assassination attempt. No. She grabbed her bag, found tampons she hadn't needed. Found the dates she'd been too distracted to track. 3 weeks late. Her hands shook as she dressed, found Taeyong. I need a pharmacy. Now. He didn't ask questions. Just drove. The pregnancy test was positive. And then another. And another. 3 pink lines that changed everything. Amara sat in the safe house bathroom, staring at the evidence. A baby. Their baby. Conceived in a marriage built on lies. A child who would tie her to Ji-hwan's world forever. She should feel trapped. Instead, she felt clarity. This wasn't just about her anymore. Park Jae-sung waited until the estate emptied. Then his shoulders sagged. He opened the locked drawer. The photograph was worn at the edges from decades of secret handling. Yuki's smile, frozen at 23. He'd been 25 when his father forbade the match. She's Japanese. She's a servant. You'll marry the Kim girl, or you'll have nothing. He'd chosen everything. Spent 50 years with nothing that mattered. His son was making a different choice. Choosing the unsuitable woman. Choosing love over empire. Jae-sung's hand trembled as he put the photograph away. Fool, he whispered. But he didn't know if he meant Ji-hwan or himself. He locked the drawer. Became the patriarch again. Tomorrow, he'd force the final choice. The son would learn. Even if it killed something in both of them. On day 5, Jia appeared at the safe house. He didn't send me, she said immediately. He doesn't know I'm here. Amara let her in. He's falling apart, Jia said without preamble. Won't eat. Won't sleep. Just works and drinks and stares at your door. Good. Is it? Jia sat down. He lied to protect you. Is that really unforgivable? He manipulated everything. Made me think I had a choice. You did have a choice. Die or marry him. He just made one option survivable. That's not a choice. That's an ultimatum with better packaging. Jia was quiet. Then, when I was 16, a man tried to assault me. At a party, Appa found out. Her voice went flat. That man disappeared. I don't know where. I don't ask. But I know Ji Huan did something terrible to protect me. That's different. Is it? He made choices for me. Took away my agency to decide if I wanted revenge or justice or just to forget. He decided for me. Jia met Amara's eyes. I was angry for years. Then I realized. He saved me the only way he knew how. With violence and control, because that's what our father taught him love looks like. I'm not you. No. But you're carrying his child. Amara's breath caught. How did you? You're drinking ginger tea. You haven't touched coffee in days. And you have that look. Jia smiled sadly. Does he know? No. Are you going to tell him? I don't know. Amara's hand went to her stomach. I don't know anything anymore. I know one thing. Jia stood. My brother has done terrible things. He'll do more terrible things. But everything he does because he loves too much, not too little. The question is, can you love someone who shows love through control? After she left, Amara sat alone with the question, and the answer terrified her. That night, Taeyong brought news. Boss wants to see you. He's asking, not demanding. Tell him no. Ma'am. I said no. Taeyong hesitated, then pulled out his phone. 5 minutes. He doesn't know I'm doing this. He handed her the phone. Ji Huan's voice nearly broke her. Amara. Just her name. Said like a prayer. Like a plea. I have nothing to say to you. Then just listen. He sounded wrecked. I found who made the call about your aunt. It wasn't my father. It was Kim Sang-woo, before he died. A final message, time to deliver after his death. Her breath caught. Your aunt is safe. I've had protection on her since the wedding. She doesn't know. But she's safe. You should have told me. I should have told you everything. From the beginning. He paused. But I was afraid. Of what? That you'd look at me exactly the way you're looking at me now. Like I'm a monster. Silence stretched between them. Are you? She whispered. Yes. No hesitation. But I'm a monster who loves you. Who would burn the world to keep you safe. Who would lie and manipulate and destroy anything that threatened you. His voice cracked. I'm a monster who's begging you to come back. Not because you have to. Because you want to. I don't know if I can trust you. I know. I'll spend the rest of my life earning it back. If you let me. Amara closed her eyes. Touched her stomach. I need time. Take all you need. I'll wait. She ended the call. Handed the phone back to Taeyong. What will you do? He asked quietly. I don't know. She looked at the pregnancy tests, still sitting on the bathroom counter. But I have to decide soon. She'd spent 3 months believing love would be enough. Believing she could change him, save him, fix him. When did loving someone become losing yourself? When did staying become the same as breaking? She touched her belly, their child growing inside her. A child conceived in a marriage built on lies. A child who would tie her to this world forever. Was she staying for love? Or for fear of being alone? Was she forgiving him because he'd changed? Or because she was afraid of starting over? Did it matter? Her grandmother's voice, memory soft. Baby girl, love isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone whose broken pieces fit with yours. Ji Huan was broken. So was she. But maybe broken together was better than whole apart. Or maybe that was just what she wanted to believe. She didn't know anymore. On day 7, Taeyong entered with news that drained all color from his face. What? Your father's funeral. The one from last year. He set down a file. I did some digging. Your father didn't die of a heart attack. What? He was murdered. Made to look natural. The Park family erased the evidence. Amara's world tilted. Ji Huan knew. I don't know. But his father definitely did. The final piece clicked into place. Her father wasn't just a whistleblower. He'd been killed for it. And she'd married into the family that murdered him. Outside, Seoul continued. Traffic. People. Life happening to those who weren't shattered. Amara stood at the small window, watching a mother and daughter cross the street. The child laughed. The mother smiled. Simple. Beautiful. Impossible. She touched her stomach. What have I done? She whispered. Her phone rang. Ji-hwan. She stared at it for 30 seconds. 40. 50. Watching his name light up the screen. Watching it ring and ring and ring. She didn't answer. The ringing stopped. Voicemail notification appeared. She didn't listen to it. 3 days later, she still hadn't listened. Some silences said more than any conversation could. The decision came at 3 a.m. on day 8. Amara sat in the dark, hand on her belly, surrounded by evidence of Ji-hwan's lies and her father's murder and a future that terrified her. She could run. Taeyong would help her disappear. Start over somewhere Ji-hwan couldn't find her. Raise this baby alone, safe, away from violence and lies. Or she could fight. Go back. Confront Jae-sung. Demand truth. Burn down the empire that killed her father. Make them pay. But fighting meant going back to Ji-hwan. Meant forgiving the unforgivable. Meant choosing a monster who loved her over a world that might be safer. She thought of her grandmother. Her father. Aunt Diane. She thought of the baby growing inside her. She thought of Ji-hwan's face when he'd said, "I'll wait." And she made her choice. Not for him. For her. For the woman she wanted to be when this was over. She called Taeyong. I'm ready. Ready for what? To go back. But not to the penthouse. Her voice hardened. Take me to the family compound. I have things to say to Park Jae-sung. Ma'am, are you sure? I'm done being afraid. I'm done running. And I'm done letting men make choices for me. She stood, fire in her veins. It's time the Park family met the real Amara Williams. Taeyong smiled. Yes, ma'am. I'll bring the car around. As she dressed, she looked at the pregnancy tests one last time. Your father is a monster, she whispered to her belly. But he's my monster. And I'm about to show his family what happens when you threaten what's mine. She wasn't the terrified girl who'd accepted an ultimatum anymore. She was a woman who'd learned to speak their language. And she was going to war. The compound gates opened at dawn. Amara walked through them like she owned the place. Taeyong flanked her, silent support. Park Jae-sung was in his study. He looked up when she entered without knocking, surprise flickering before his mask fell into place. The American bride returns. Come to beg forgiveness. No. She dropped a file on his desk. Come to discuss my father's murder. His eyes narrowed. I don't know what you're. Thomas Williams. Died of a heart attack last year. Except the autopsy was falsified. Park family paid off the coroner. Her voice was steel. You had my father killed because he tried to expose your operations 20 years ago. Jae-sung leaned back, studying her. You have no proof. I have enough. Medical records. Financial transfers. Witness statements Taeyong collected. She leaned forward. But I'm not here for revenge. I'm here to make a deal. You? Make a deal with me. He laughed. You have nothing I want. I have your grandchild. The words landed like a bomb. Jae-sung went very still. You're pregnant. 10 weeks. Ji-hwan doesn't know yet. She touched her stomach. You wanted an heir. Here's your heir. But the price is truth. All of it. Why you kill my father. Why you've been testing us. Everything. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, your father wasn't just a whistleblower. He planted evidence. Fabricated crimes. Tried to frame my wife, Ji-hwan's mother, for money laundering she didn't do. She would have gone to prison. Died there. His voice was cold. When he died last year, I considered it justice delayed. Amara's world shifted. My father framed an innocent woman? To save himself. Yes. Jae-sung stood. So when I ordered you eliminated, it wasn't cruelty. It was symmetry. His daughter for my wife. But Ji-hwan stopped you. He did. Fabricated a marriage arrangement I couldn't refuse without losing face. Forced my hand. Something almost like respect entered his eyes. My son is more cunning than I gave him credit for. He learned from the best. Perhaps. Jae-sung moved to the window. The assassination attempt. You think I ordered it, didn't you? I ordered a test. Not death. I wanted to see if he'd protect you or let you die. When he took that bullet, he trailed off. I got my answer. That you raised a man, not a monster. That I failed to teach him what matters. But his voice lacked conviction. The door opened. An elderly woman entered. Ji-hwan's grandmother, the true matriarch. She looked at Amara for a long moment, then spoke in English. You're pregnant. Yes, grandmother. My son wants you gone. Dead, preferably. She glanced at Jae-sung. I want something different. From her sleeve, she produced a jade bracelet. The family bracelet. Generations old. This belongs to the matriarch. She held it out. I give it to you now. Amara's hands trembled taking it. Heavy. Ancient. Acceptance made tangible. Tomorrow, the family votes on Ji-hwan's position. They'll decide whether to strip him of power for choosing you. The grandmother's eyes gleamed. But if you wear this, you have my endorsement. And I still control 40% of voting shares. Why are you helping us? Because my son chose duty over love 50 years ago and became a monster. She looked at Jae-sung. My grandson chose love over duty and became a man. I want to see what happens when love wins for once. After she left, Amara faced Jae-sung. The vote is tomorrow at noon. You'll need to speak. In Korean. To the entire family. Can you do that? Yes. And the child is mine to protect, not yours to control. She slid the bracelet on. I'm fighting for my family now. All of it. Including your son. She turned to leave. He's outside, Jae-sung said. Has been all night. Waiting. Her heart stuttered. Tell him yourself. She opened the door. Ji-hwan stood in the courtyard, looking wrecked. Unshaven. Exhausted. When he saw her, he froze. Amara. She crossed to him. Took his hand. Placed it on her stomach. I'm pregnant, she said quietly. 10 weeks. His eyes went wide. Disbelieving. Hands shaking against her. We're, words failed him. We're having a baby. And tomorrow, we're fighting for our future. She cupped his face. Together. No more lies. No more secrets. Just us. I don't deserve you. No. But you're stuck with me anyway. She kissed him softly. I love you. Despite everything. Because of everything. I love you. I love you. He pulled her close, careful of her stomach. God, I love you so much. Then prove it. Tomorrow. In front of your family. Choose us. Publicly. Completely. I already have. I've been dismantling my father's criminal operations for 2 years. Moving everything legitimate. Building cases against the worst offenders. He touched her face. I was waiting for the right moment to burn it all down. You gave me that moment. Then let's burn it together. You've stayed through 48 hours of fear, through lies and bullets and impossible choices. We're almost there. The confrontation, the truth, the moment everything breaks or heals. Don't leave now. Subscribe and let's finish this the way it deserves. They stood together in the garden where his mother once walked. Tomorrow, they'd face his family. Tomorrow, everything changed. Ready? He asked. No. She smiled. But let's do it anyway. The family meeting room was packed. 30 people. 3 generations. All watching. Amara wore traditional hanbok in deep blue, the jade bracelet visible on her wrist. Every eye tracked it, the grandmother's endorsement, impossible to ignore. Park Jae-sung sat at the head. His face was stone as Ji-hwan and Amara entered together. We're here to discuss my son's future, Jae-sung began in Korean. His choices have brought shame to this family. An unsuitable marriage. No heirs. Weakness where there should be strength. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the room. The vote is simple. Strip him of his position or allow this farce to continue. Ji-hwan started to stand. Amara touched his hand. Stood instead. Every eye turned to her. She began in perfect Korean, formal and cutting. I understand every word, Chairman Park. I've understood for months. Shocked silence. I know what you've said about me. What you've planned. What you fear. She switched to informal speech, challenging him directly. You're afraid your son loves me more than he fears you. You're right. Jae-sung's jaw tightened. Amara continued, her Korean flawless. You call me unsuitable. I am. I'm not from your world. I don't have your bloodline. I don't have your history. She paused. But I have something you've forgotten. Love that doesn't demand. Protection that doesn't control. Strength that doesn't break what it touches. She turned to address the room. Ji-hwan made me a vow on our wedding day. He promised never to touch me without my consent. In your world, you called it weakness. You questioned his manhood, his power. Her voice strengthened. But that vow, that single thread of honor, is what makes him different from every man in this room. He chose respect over possession, asked instead of taking. And that's not weakness. That's evolution. One of the uncles stood. Pretty words. But what about heirs? What about duty? Amara smiled, placed her hand on her stomach. I'm 10 weeks pregnant. Your heir is coming. But this child will be raised by a father who knows the difference between power and control, who knows love doesn't require submission. The room erupted in whispers. Jae-sung stood. Enough. This changes nothing. The vote. The vote is mine to cast, the grandmother said, rising. 40%. And I vote for my grandson. For his wife. For the future they're building. Mother. Sit down. Her voice cut like a blade. You chose duty over love 50 years ago. It made you cruel. Made you alone. She looked at Ji-hwan. He chose differently. Let him have what you couldn't. Jae-sung's face was white. Ji-hwan stood. Before you vote, you should know something. For 2 years, I've been systematically dismantling our criminal operations. Moving assets legitimate. Building cases with international authorities against our worst partners. The room went silent. You what? Jae-sung's voice was deadly quiet. I'm destroying the empire you built on blood. Rebuilding it on something clean. Ji-hwan's voice was steel. The vote isn't about whether I keep my position. It's about whether this family evolves or dies. You betray your own blood. I'm saving it. From you. From itself. Ji-hwan looked at his father. Mother made me promise I'd never become you. I kept that promise the only way I could. By becoming your opposite where it matters most. He'd killed for his family before, but he'd never kneeled for love. That was the difference between duty and devotion, and it made all the difference. Jae-sung's hands trembled. For the first time in decades, he looked old. Defeated. You're a fool, he whispered. Maybe, but I'm a fool who'll sleep at night. Ji-hwan took Amara's hand. The family can vote me out. Strip everything. I don't care. I have what matters. Amara started to leave with him. Wait. Jae-sung's voice stopped them. He stood slowly, looking at Ji-hwan.